Welcome to another episode of Changing the Narrative podcast. I am Mr. Changing the Narrative himself, Armand Baskin. I want to welcome in my co-host, life coach Jeff Relaford. Life coach Jeff Relaford. Where you at, brother? Come on in.
What it do, fam?
How you doing today, sir?
I'm good, dog. I'm just ready for another episode of what we got going.
Right on.
And let the people know what we on today, man.
Well, today I'm gonna take the wheel, put my hands behind the wheel.
Okay.
And I'm gonna ask you a couple questions about how you know what I'm saying, control your emotions. We're gonna piggyback off last week's episode, carry on into this week, get your opinion, see, what it's the type of situations you've been in where you had to really get your stuff in check and keep your emotions in order and everything like that. So if you're all right with that, I want to ask you a couple questions.
Let's have at it, bro. Let's get it.
Okay, cool. So the first question that I have for you is, have you ever been put in a situation or a predicament where, you know what I'm saying, you had to really, I mean, like for real, check yourself before it got out of hand and get your emotions all the way together before you went completely left? Or have you ever, got to that point where you was like, whatever, I deal with the consequences. I need to get this out.
I'm gonna be real, man. Listen, I believe I can honestly say when we all have had a moment in our lives when we went there. You feel me? When we went to a point to where it was like the point of no return, and we was like, oh crap, I did this. So I have had that moment, and I have had certain situations where I have misjudged situations. Where I went ahead and flew off the handle. I have went ahead and read people the wrong way. I've had misinformation. That's some of the worst things, man. When you have misinformation from people, you feel me, man, and you start to judge and go through a whole situation. I think those are the worst things. One time I was at work, man, and when I was at work, I work in the steel mill, man. And for anybody who do industrial manufacturing work and all that, I don't understand. It's a different breed of people that come through them type of jobs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just wild, man. Because you got the old people who've been there for a long time. They think they know everything, and they don't like the young guy coming up. And it's like a battle to see whose ego is the biggest. You feel me?
Right.
But all the brother trying to do is just learn. That's it. But it's wild because one time a guy told me that he told me to do something, and it was just a particular task that we always do, and I went ahead and did it.
Right.
But the backlash for that was this guy didn't want something done a certain way, and then on top of that, I thought he was trying to steal my equipment. So the guy who told me to do the task, he this is what misinformation does, people. He said, oh man, this guy's he's mad, he upset, blah blah blah. Turns out dude was never mad and upset. And when we talk about flying off the handle, I was at my breaking point. I've been dealing with a lot of stuff that week at work, dog. Like when I tell you, like I said, anybody who work manufacturing and industrial, and I'm a steel worker, bruh, it's a different breed of person that come in that door. So this particular dude, I know he get mad over little stuff. So that was another. It was like I analyzed the stuff he would always get mad about, and all that started playing in my head. Because this old dude, he a hothead, man. He really is.
Right.
Like these truck drivers come in, they do certain stuff. My man be snapping hardcore. He cool when you talk to him, but it's like when people get mad, you like, okay, you mad at me, and then you see how they will be with other people, and you assume that they mad with you that same way. But dude was never mad. So, man, I went down there to that office, dude. I tore him up, man. I'm a humble dude, but I tore him up. I said words. Y'all know I keep it real, people. I cuss. We do some things here, and it just got bad. It was bad. You know what I mean? And I apologize and everything. But, people don't accept apologies so easily. That's one of them where, like you said earlier, I went ahead of the situation. You feel me? I had to eat the consequences for it. It wasn't, when you get to a point to where it's not really so much you can say or do. You just got to be, all right, bro, it is what it is. I said what I said. I did what I did. All right, I just make it right between me and God. That's all I can do. I can't control nobody, another person. So I left it alone, and we cool now. But I messed that
up. Hey, I will say this. That's mighty big of you to admit that, man. A lot of people don't, most people. I won't say all, but I say a lot of people. They, admitting faults is hard. It's pulling teeth. You know what I'm saying? People don't like, they don't, for some reason, accountability is not a word they like to hear. So for you to first, off a question that I asked, the first thing that you say is an instance where you were in the wrong, that speaks volumes about your character and how you probably have grown and learned from that experience. So that's dope, man.
Yeah, man. I tell people, dog, you just have to learn from every experience that you have is a learning experience. And I tell people, don't ever say that you'll never do something, or I'm not this way, or I'm not that way. Because if you think that way, dog, it's kind of like you in a narrow space of emotion. You know what I mean? Because we all think we handle certain stuff a different way until we let some time pass and we actually analyze and assess the situation. I always tell people, never be too big to say that I did something wrong. You know what I mean? So
yeah, that's real, man. I got a couple instances where I was wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can, honestly admit, like, some stuff that went on. It's crazy, but now I think about it, it's really silly. But
and it's always silly at the end, ain't it?
Man, it's crazy, man, because like me and my wife will be talking. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And the talk had turned into a slight argument. And it stemmed from me jumping the gun. Like I was a habitual gun jumper, man. I would jump the gun so fast, not let her finish whatever she gonna say. And then, you know what I'm saying? I done pissed her off. Whereas now she ain't got nothing to say to me. She shut completely down like an old car. And I'm looking crazy because I ain't even let her finish what she gonna say. I'm assuming that I can finish her statement for her. I'm thinking it's the worst, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I'm jumping the gun and I'm acting as if I can speak for you, and I can't. And then, in turn, I got to sit down, go downstairs into my man cave, think about what really just happened, and figure out how I got to apologize.
Yeah,
but,
there you go.
If you keep doing that, it ain't an accident. That's a habit. You know what I'm saying? So
you're right.
I found myself doing that a lot, and that was one of the things that I've been trying to work on, man, with that. So I can honestly admit, I had to get, them emotions is crazy, man. They fester when this stuff be festering, and it's amazing what it does. When that mind is tricky, man. That mind, it's a trip, man. So
it is. I done said some stuff and done some things that how they say it's hard when you say words, dude, to people and it hurt. Like, it's very hard to take that back. Now, because a lot of times that like you said earlier, that speaks to the character. Like these people who I particularly work with, you only see me 5 days out of the week for 8 hours. That's it. Only.
That's it.
So it ain't like we kicking it outside of work. It ain't like we not talking about, what you going through at the crib. You know what I mean? I have to put up with you and I have to work with you. I don't even want to say put up with. That's sad. I don't want to say that. But I have to work with you and I have to work around whatever you got going on. I gotta somehow be in a space where I can sympathize and empathize with you. Cause I'm like, okay, I know some people who just snapped and they really just had a bad day. And the bad day just, as you said, festered. And that's what it was, man. Now, that I would like to say with my particular situation, I told dude, I was like, I was just having a bad and stressful day. And I really was. That's me being honest, coming from the heart. And you know, when you take responsibility for your actions and you could not have turned that way, it's not a lot like you say, man, it's not a lot of people who will admit the fault. You feel me? They looking for an apology. But I always make sure that I'm the first one to give the apology. I don't want nobody sitting up here saying, bro, hey man, you ain't trying to rectify. Nah, because at that point, I don't care if you don't want to hear what I got to say. You know what I mean? As long as I done made peace with it internally, I said what I said, I meant it. I could turn it off. If you don't want nothing to do with me, I'm be like, all right, well, homie, it is what it is. You feel me?
So listen, I want to dive a little bit deeper.
Mm-hmm.
I got another question for you, and it's just off of I'm really asking this off of listening to you speak.
Okay.
So, because you were having a bad day, right?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. And you snapped off or you did whatever you did to this gentleman who you assumed felt a certain way, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Does that make it okay because you apologize?
No.
What makes it okay? And listen here.
Yeah, I feel you.
You're a life coach.
Mm-hmm.
Don't give me the politically correct answer. I want to know the for real deal, Holyfield.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna tell you.
And the only reason why I'm asking this,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna give me 2 seconds to explain this, and I want you to answer.
Yeah, go ahead.
The only reason why I'm asking this is because I want to see both sides of it. Because in one instance, right, you was feeling a certain type of way, right, because of whatever.
Yeah.
You assume that your boss was feeling a certain type of way because of whatever. In turn, your emotions, your ego, allowed you to think something completely different than what this man had in mind. So you go in there, you rip him a whole new one, right? Realizing that and then after you do, you realize that you're at fault.
Yep.
You apologize. But then you said, people ain't so, they not so forgiving sometimes. Hook me up and answer that. Because I went I've been listening very well. I know you're going to give me a hell of an answer. That's why I put you on spot.
I feel you. Yeah, I feel you.
Can you please let the people know your opinion on that?
Okay. Sir? And I'm going to be real.
Come on with it.
Nothing excuses my behavior in that moment. Real talk. It's not a lot that I can say. It's not a lot that I can try to justify. Because when you speak words to people, bro, you hurt the hell out of people. Right. They say sticks and stones can break my bones, but words can never hurt me. That's the biggest lie in the world, bro. Words will cut you deep. And you have to be very careful. And in this particular instance, I was not careful about the words that I used or the words that I said. Now, I did not cuss him out. I did not do that. But it was the attitude that I put behind it. You know, that I'm not going to put up with your BS. You know what I mean? And I might have said that. I might have said that. But I didn't call him out his name or nothing like that. You know what I mean? I was letting dude know, hey, look, man, I'm quiet. I come to work. But do you really know who I am? Do you know what I mean? When I say that, do you really know the person that I can become if we go the other way? See, that's what I have control over. Now, once again, I'm human. I'm not going to have control over it. But 99.9% of the time, Jeff Relaford not going to snap.
Right.
You that's not my first instance. You know what I mean? So, no, nothing excuses the behavior that I did. Now, I can try to justify it and say, yes, I had a bad day. But real talk, when you go back and you actually play it back, it's like, bro, if I would have just shut up and did my job, waited to cool down, and had a conversation with him, we could have been good. And then in turn, you want to know what that rolled over and did? It rolled over into, I had a good relationship with another guy I was working with. but he didn't like how I came off to the old man, right? But it's wild how other people will react to how you treat others. But then, and I have to say this because this is a true statement, but then they will justify their own behavior to other people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you weren't even in that situation. So it's okay for you to cuss out another coworker and say, I'm doing my freaking job or whatever. But then when I snap and have a bad day, all hell done broke loose because Jeff is quiet, right?
So life coach, would you say that you had to take a second to redirect, regroup, and refocus?
Oh, you already
So
know,
you can
bro.
go on and change that narrative of everything.
Oh, I love them shameless plugs in there, sir. I
I'm
love them.
just saying,
But
I'm
yeah,
listening to it. It sounds like those are steps that you really had to take
and
to
you know,
get it together.
yeah. And since you said redirect, regroup, refer, because I define it just briefly. I'm not gonna go deep
Go
into it. I'm
ahead.
just defining it briefly. Because redirect is shifting the mindset. So what I had to do was I had to put myself in the situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Literally plop myself in the situation, remove my current and existing emotions out of it, and hear the words that I was saying and actually what was given to me. You know what I
Okay.
mean? That's what I had to do in order to flip it and say, all right, okay, I came off this way and I assume this. Now I did it real quick, you know what I mean? Because
Uh,
I was real heated, you know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, Jeff, why the hell are you heated, man? Just relax, chill out, slow down, and play it back in your mind. So redirect means shifting the mindset. So I was changing my mind, changing the way I thought in my perception about the whole thing. And that's
right.
redirect. Regrouped is self-discovery. So, dude, I had to ask Jeff, what do you see in yourself that truly came out? Are you a person that just flies off the handle and gets angry all the time?
Right.
Because when you do it one time, when you do it a couple times, you do it a few times, you literally have to ask yourself that question. No, I don't do it all the time, but is it okay for me to try to address what makes me angry? You know what I mean? So a
Mm-hmm.
brother had to really sit down while I went through that situation and address what made me angry. What made me angry was assumption. And then I got upset, and then I in turn assumed. It was just a snowball effect with nobody getting no truth or no answers. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I shifted my mindset, trying to get my way of thinking by looking at the situation, and then regroup. I looked at self-discovery, inner self. Now refocus is my action part, right?
Right.
So I assessed the situation. I changed my mind about it so I can get a different perspective on it. I put the
Right.
accountability on me. Now I went ahead and I said, Jeff, are you this way truly? No, I'm not that way truly. I'm just like everybody else. I'm emotional and I had a moment. So now refocus is that action. You have to rectify. The
Right.
hardest thing to do when you get into an argument with somebody is to A, admit that you're wrong, and B, apologize, and C, mean that apology based off of the conclusion that you actually made about yourself, not the other person, but about you. So I
Oh, that's
literally had
that's that's major. What you just said is
no,
major, bro. That's it.
yeah,
That's man. That's a gem, bro.
dog. This is so heavy because I have lived my life trying to assess myself and
Uh-huh.
really see, because I was always quiet. Okay, I'm gonna tell you this. I was always quiet as a kid. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
I kept a lot of stuff in. I had a lot of anger growing up because of certain situations that happened as such. So with that
Right.
anger, I had to ask myself, well, what did I do with it? What I did was I put it in a lot of sports. You know what I mean? I've always preoccupied my time with different things. And then as I got older, I started going to church and everything. So I said, all right, old folk used to say, well, you can talk to God. I'm like, well, who is this God I can talk to? Well, let me talk to God. Let me see if it works. So as I got older, that was a big part of it. And that's what made me want to look at my inner self, because I said, if God can go ahead and forgive me, you know what I mean, for
Mm-hmm.
how I act. We look at mercy, grace, all that stuff. As Christians, we like to say that. And I got to say this real quick. For the people that's listening, y'all know how I go. Jeff Rutherford believe in what he believes. You necessarily don't have to believe what I believe in, but it's about principle. So here's the principle of it, people. if God could give me grace and say, okay, you know what? I can accept you for who you are. When you make a mistake, I owe it to myself to look at where I messed up at, not worry about the other person because they have to deal with that internally themselves. I owe it to myself to look at where I messed up, give myself some big accountability, and then do the best I can. And I got to say that, people, you have to do the best that you can because you're not going to be perfect. So I have to do the best that I can to say, what can I do differently? So if it occurs again, how can I change that narrative? You know, it's.
Hey, I asked a question. You gave me a straight answer. Can it, boy?
That's what it boiled down to, brother.
Bullseye. That was, man. I like that, man. I like
It's
that.
just wild,
You put
man.
that together, bro. I like the way you put that together, man. You explained everything
Thank you,
to a
sir.
T. You
Thank you,
know,
sir.
hey, I know it's a little bit off subject, but if you're gonna
Yeah.
claim to be something, know your stuff, man. Know what you're talking about.
Say that again, my man, for the
You are
people.
your brand. If you claim to be something, if you saying that you're a life coach, you saying that you this and you motivational this, or you know anything that's gonna help somebody, you just heard this man. He is his brand. You know, yeah, it's an acronym. Yeah, shameless plug because that's my brother. But the way he took what I said and flipped it around, broke it down in layman's terms, and in, you know what I'm saying, hood terms, so that it's understanding. Anybody can understand it.
There you go.
Anybody can understand it. I mean, that's amazing, man. So, you know, just know your stuff, man. Because if you fooling with life coach Jeff, you in for it because he know what he talking about. That's why I fool with him.
Thank you,
Real
brother.
talk.
I
Most
appreciate you,
definitely.
man. I
Most
appreciate you.
definitely.
And
But go ahead. I'm sorry.
but brother, iron sharpens iron, bro. You know what I mean? It's wild because, like we always say, I might be a life coach, but coaches need coaches too.
You're right.
So, and that's what I do. That's why me and you have such a great relationship already, because when we talk, it's certain way like, I know how you come off, you feel me?
Right.
But I know what you mean behind it. So what it is remember I told you about listening to the words rather than the emotion?
Yeah, that's real talk.
You know what, dog? Like you really a part of my wife helps me with that. You know what I mean? Big part in that. And it's great that I have people around that I could actually dissect in that way, that I can truly get to know, because what was I telling my cousin, man? I told him, I said, man, if I didn't know Armand from nobody, man, and if I didn't know he was connected to you, you probably would have been the dude that I snapped on. You feel me? But because I listened to you, bro, because that's what it takes. You got to listen to people, and you got to really just like pay attention to what they saying and really grasp it. It's tough at times, but it's necessary.
But you know what's another thing about that is, the older you get and you surround yourself around with new people and you learn new people, you know what I'm saying? It's harder than it was when we was kids, because we're knowledgeable enough to know the type of things that people do. You know what I'm saying? They aren't truthful, they deceitful. You know what I'm saying? They liars. They could be trying to set you up, anything.
That's
true. You know what I'm saying? So I get where you're saying I'm a little rough around the edges, but I mean well. But I'm at a stage where meaning well that means nothing to me. Because if you mean well, you can do well. So
drop
that's
that
real
nugget.
talk.
If you mean
For
well,
real.
drop that nugget. I ain't gonna
If
say
you
it. I'm gonna
mean
let you
well,
say it.
you'll do well. Straight up. They talk about, oh well, gee, they mean well. What do that mean? It's 2023. Meaning well means nothing. If you mean well, just do well. You know what I'm saying? It all go hand in hand. So
facts, bro.
I am, but I'm learning how to adjust that, because just like I said last week, my emotions, it's a trickle down effect, snowball effect, however you want to call it, to the wife, the kids, the dog.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? So am I perfect? No. But I really I really try to take time to think about some of the things that I say. Every now and again, I have a hiccup where I might jump the gun, but I'm quick to apologize because I know that when my wife is at ease and she happy and she cool, everything runs smooth around here. You know what I'm saying? But when we at odds, I know it. I can feel it.
I
And
feel
the
you.
house can too. You know what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
man, we through with that type of stuff.
I
So
hear you, man.
when it come to that and the emotions and all that, I don't have no pride. I can throw my pride in the trash. I'm gonna do whatever to make sure everything go the way it need to.
I hear you. And my
Ain't
man
always
speaking
been
real
that way.
words.
Shit, real talk. I haven't always been like this, man. But you know, as men, we got to think about what the baggage that we bring. So you find somebody that's gonna put up with your mess. And you, like I say, mess doesn't necessarily mean that you doing something, or mess meaning your attitude, or mess mean how you act. Or, you could be nasty. You know what I'm saying? You don't cook. You don't like taking the trash out. You know what I'm saying? If you got somebody that's gonna deal with that, or you snore or whatever,
facts.
you gotta kind of figure it out, man. So the emotions play a big part because I be thinking about all my little flaws that I know. That I know my wife know, and she still deal with me. So I'll be like, yeah, man, got to keep them emotions in check, brother.
Definitely. And you know that like you hear me say this all the time, bro. Acceptance is a big thing.
Yeah.
And what I mean by acceptance is, see, people always say, well, we have to accept people for who they are. Well, let's just narrow that down real quick. We got like a couple more minutes. Let me just narrow this down real quick. When you accept people for who they are, that doesn't mean you have to take the negativity that they bring with them. Like you said, that little stuff like getting to know, like the snoring and not taking out the trash, all the other stuff. See, that's you knowing that person. But that doesn't mean these are just acts that might annoy you a bit. You know what I mean? Or you might get sick and tired of. A lot of times people don't want to get to know people when it comes to that. And they take those small things and it's a catalyst, because when something bigger happens, like where it's time to have that emotional talk with your loved one or your spouse, it makes it harder to do because you didn't nitpick it on the little stuff. So when they do something just like that, it's like, now you ready to snap. That's why I say you got to accept people and truly analyze and look at people for who they are. Like, okay, Molly could like get mad about something and have an attitude right now. But not even in the recesses, not in the recesses of your mind, because the recesses, you got to dig deep. You know what I mean? But at the forefront of your mind, Molly has treated you good.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so is it really worth going
That's what it
back?
come down to.
Is it worth going back to the BS when you try to move forward?
That's where that emotional balance kick in, brother.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, it's like, who really want to be a glutton for pain? Why even put yourself in that boat?
Fact.
When like I said, I guess it just go by the person, man. But me, when it come to this household, I don't have no pride, man. You call me whatever you want to, but I mean that's just me.
I feel you.
You know what I'm saying? So I try my best. I've been trying my best to kind of make sure them emotions are, even keeled, man, because like you say, the one thing about a word, when it's out there, you can't take it back. You can apologize, but hey, when you say things, you say what you mean more times than not.
Facts, bro. That's true. That's real talk.
That's it, man. We gonna end the show on that note. That was a bar,
bruh. Straight
Close
bar.
it out, man. Close it out for us.
Oh, close. Okay. Look, I really hope that y'all really, once again, as I always say when we get done, I hope y'all heard something. I hope y'all took something from this prequel to changing your emotions. I hope that we both in this 2-week period gave y'all something to really look at, analyze, and pay attention to. You know what I mean? Because like we said before, we go through so much stuff. Take some time to really assess the situation, look at it, and never be big enough to say, I did something. So, you got anything else to add, brother? We good?
For the most part, we good. I mean, to piggy off what you're saying,
Yeah.
like you said, accountability, acceptance, and make sure that you know, try to balance those emotions out, man. All that stuff factor into every type of relationship, whether it's romantic, whether it's, you know, friendship level, whether it's work related. Emotions play a part in our everyday life, whether we want to admit it, accept it, or whatever have you.
Thanks.
But, you know, just accept it, you know, hold yourself accountable and try to make things right, man. We don't have as much time as people think we do. So,
Facts, bro.
yeah, let's just keep living the right way, stress-free, you know what I'm saying, worry-free, loving on these kids, these dogs, whatever we got.
That's right.
And let that be that.
Facts. Well, once again, thank y'all for listening to the Change in the Narrative podcast. And we will be back next week with a different subject. We don't know what the heck we're going to talk about, but we're going to make sure we bring something to y'all that's listen worthy. So, all right, y'all. Peace out.
Being old.